Welcome, friends, family, traders from around the world. My name is Tracy. I'm your host today, and I'd like to welcome you. It is November 16th, 2020. And if you don't know me already, I am one of the mentors over at Real Life Trading, so feel free to check us out over there at www.reallifetrading.com. We have a ton of free education as well as other trading products that you might find useful. In the meantime, today's video, what I want to talk about, I get a lot of people asking me about the volume profile and how I use it. So I'm going to go through a little bit about that. This isn't going to be too in-depth, but I will show you kind of how I use it. And let's first of all explain to you where you find the volume profile. So if you go up into the FX button right up in here, you go to volume profile and you can select session volume. Now I've already got that selected when I hit here. So if I go into a smaller time frame, you can see that you end up with these lines kind of running across here, a profile. That's what's called the volume profile. Now let's go over the anatomy of the volume profile. Well, first of all, I'll show you my settings. So with my settings, the width I changed to 50, and we're in the style. I changed it to 50, and then I change my color of the up volume. I change it to a different color. You can choose whatever you want. That's the this part right here, and right here. It's outside of the value area, and I'll explain what that is later. And then I select the POC I keep as red. Inputs, this is the big one. So I change my rows layout to ticks per row. And then depending on which stock I'm looking at, like the SPY, I might change this row size to 10. If you get a lot of data and you have a lot of small rows, you might want to increase this number, but typically I use around 2. I change the volume to total. Otherwise it'll show you a separated bar. I'll show you what it looks like. You can see the separated bar. So the yellow is the selling, the blue is the buying. I prefer just the total. I don't really care about which is the selling and which is the buying. And then the value area, which I leave is the default, which is 70. And that just indicates that this blue area right here, that's where 70% of all the transactions occurred in this area of price. And then you've got your extend POC to the right. So I do that, and POC stands for point of control. Now, what is the point of control? This red line right here is the point of control, and it indicates where the most volume occurred, this price. So at this price, that's where the most volume occurred during this session. So as you could expect, during the day, as price is developing, this POC is moving. And the value area is where 70% of all the session volume occurred. So obviously that is moving as well. So now that you know what the volume profile is, and I'll explain why this is a little bit different. So down on the bottom here, you have volume. Now, these volume bars indicate the number of transactions that occurred during a specific time. So this bar here had 65,446,000 contracts or shares transacted during this 5-minute bar. But you don't know if it was all down here, 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 or all up here. That's where the session volume comes into play, because as the session volume is developing, you can see where these volume peaks occur. You can see the lines, and it might be hard to see because I've got it turned down quite low, but you've got what's called a high volume node right in this area. So at 379.42, you have a lot more volume than you do at 379.76, and same with 380.04. You've got these little peaks. Same with 380.72, you get these peaks, and that's where an increased number of transactions occur, or interest. People get interested at those levels. And as I mentioned before, the point of control is the area where the most transactions occur. That's the price that was the most favorable price during this session. And so now that we've established that and the difference, I'll show you how I use it. Now, basically, actually, let's go back to the 5-minute chart. So basically what I'm doing when I am watching the point of control, or when I am in a trade, I'm watching the point of control to see if the point of control is moving up for trending up, or whether it's moving down in a downtrend. And watching the point of control where it was and where it is now, and where it moves to next, helps me determine whether or not the trend is strong, whether the trend is continuing, or whether the trend is possibly coming to an end. And what I want to do is I want to go, and I'm not cherry picking these, I just want to show you kind of what you should be looking for in a trending condition. So let's just look at this big bar, because we can see that it definitely trended. So if we go to there and go to the 5-minute chart, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play the first 5-minute bar. Now I'm going to mark the point of control. So that's this red line. Now this is developing as the day goes by, okay? So during this 5-minute bar, that's where the point of control. So right in the middle here, that's when the most transactions occurred during this 5-minute bar. Let's see what happens to the point of control. And the only reason I'm putting this line here is so that you can see where the solid line, if it goes up or whether it goes down. So the next 5-minute bar, you can see that the point of control goes down. So let's move this down and let's watch what happens. We get another bar, but the volume, or the POC stays exactly where it is. Doesn't move up or down. We get some buying, and again, the point of control stays here. Now, right there, you get another little drop in the point of control. So this is continuing to move down. Now, as the point of control moves down, what this tells me is that at each move down lower, you're getting price acceptance. So people are accepting the price at lower and lower levels. You're getting more transactions that are wanting to do business there. So now the point of control moves down again. So let's just see this. So again, we're continuing to move down. Not once has the point of control moved back up. You have a slight little drop there. And I don't really worry about those slight little drops, but I'm making it a point to notice it right now. Right there, you have another drop down. And right now, I'm not talking about what I would have done to get into the trade, or if I would have even entered the trade, but if I was in the trade, I'd be watching this, and the point of control is continuing down. So if I was in a short right now, I would be feeling pretty confident about staying in this short at the moment. The point of control continues to go lower. So again, we're getting price acceptance at lower and lower levels. We get another push down. And there's another drop in the point of control. So again, we're getting price acceptance down here. Now, one thing that I do pay attention to is, when the point of control drops, is it dropping when the price is moving down, or is it dropping when the price is moving up? Because if I get one move up in this point of control now, that's going to tell me that this is where the buyers are stepping in, and that's why the volume is picking up in this particular area. And the move downward could be over. So let's just take a look. And like I said, if I get one move of this point of control upward, I'm going to exit the trade. Price is continuing to go lower, and we get another drop in the point of control. So that's good. This is good. That was just a little pullback testing the 10 EMA. There's another drop in the point of control. So all of this is good. And like I said, when you get price starting to move up, what I'd want to see is the point of control also move up with that to tell me that maybe the buyers are stepping in. But right now we're not seeing that. So this is showing some good strength in the downside for this continuation of a trend lower. Waiting for another move down. And obviously we know what happened, but you can see what happens with the point of control. Now, when I'm in a trade and I start to see a bunch of drops like this, and the point of control isn't moving lower. That can sometimes tell me that this drop here isn't due to an overabundance of aggressive sellers. It's more due to a lack of buyers. So what that's telling me is that, yeah, there's sellers here, but the overwhelming, the number of sellers is easily chewing through the number of passive buyers, the limit orders that are sitting there, versus if the volume was moving down, that would tell me that there's a lot of battle going on, but the bears are winning. So this shows weakness to the downside. It doesn't necessarily show strength, but it still shows that the bearish trend is continuing lower. So I'll repeat that again. If I see a drop like this, but I don't see the point of control moving down and price acceptance becoming accepted at those lower levels, that tells me that the selling is happening because there's a lack of buyers, not necessarily because there's an overabundance of selling. So it's not a strong sentiment move. It's more just we just got to go lower until we find where the buyers want to step in, and then the volume will pick up again. So right now we're continuing lower, and again, we're not getting price acceptance at lower levels, but the point of control is not moving up either. So right now the trend is still continuing, and if I was in this trade, I would be waiting for a close above the 10 and I'd be exiting at that point. But right now it's continuing lower, and like I said, we're not getting any new price acceptance at the lower level, so it's low volume happening down in this range. Now the thing is let's go back a little bit here, because I'll show you. Take a peek at this is that blue area, this is the value area. So 70% of all transactions are occurring in this area. Now, if we quickly just go down, you can see that the value area is also shifting down, which means that even though the point of control is not lowering, the value area is dropping. It is moving down as price moves down. Now there it didn't, and then there it is again. And we just continue lower, and this is almost to the end of the day. But like I said, you're dropping down here. You're not getting price acceptance down at these levels. So again, that tells me you've got selling due to a lack of buyers, not necessarily a battle between buying and selling, and the sellers are winning. So we just have to move. Price has to move down until it finds the buyers to step in. So to recap, and I'll show you some other examples, but the point of control starts and it continues to make lower lows. It does not go back up. It continues to trend down. And that's what I'm looking for in a trending day. So if I'm in a position and I want to hold it as long as I can, I'm watching that POC for it to continue to move higher or lower, depending on the position that I'm holding. Now, if we go and look at another example right here, we'll just go to the 5-minute chart and let's play the first candle. Let's mark that point of control. This was the right day, right? Let's just take a quick peek here. Yeah, it is. So let's go back to the 5-minute. Now we already know what happens, but I want you to watch the point of control and see what the point of control does as this is moving. So point of control, price is below the point of control at this point. We're dropping. We have not had the point of control move down yet. So and again, that tells me lack of buyers, not necessarily strength in sellers. There's the point of control moving down, and that's good. It moved down with selling, so that's nice. Another little move down. Another little move down. And we're continuing to hold that level right now, but we're not going higher, we're going lower. There's the low breaking. And again, when it was consolidating in this area, if I had seen the point of control move up at all, that would have been an indication that this double bottom could have been strong and could have been real. So I'm just watching this continues to go lower. Again, we're not getting the point of control moving lower. It's staying where it is, which tells me lack of buyers. And there we go. The point of control finally drops towards the end of the day. And that's it for that day. So that's that one. Let's take a look. Let's just delete this. Okay, so now let's go to another day perhaps. Let's go to a different stock altogether. Let's go to Apple. And let's pick, well, let's look at one of these days. So this day right here. Because you can see that it made a wick on the high and wick on the low. Let's see what it does. So if we take a note of where our POC is. So the point of control is right there on the first 5-minute candle. It immediately moves lower. Price is staying below the point of control. You can see price is moving higher, but the point of control is not necessarily going with it. It's staying there. So now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles in a row with an upper wick. Point of control is not moving, so you're not getting price acceptance as this is making a higher move. If I had taken this trade and gotten in long here, I would be starting to protect my gains or making sure that I take partials until I see this point of control move up. It hasn't made it. There we go. So it moved up. So now we've had, but it moved up on selling, by the way. We've had it move down and then we had it move up. So this to me is no longer a trending day. It's not going to trend in any one direction necessarily, I don't think. I'd have to see, I would think that this is possibly the top. It might retest that top, make a little bit of another move, but it's not necessarily going to be a strong move in one direction or the other. This is more like a rotational move. So let's watch and see what happens to the point of control. And there it moves down. So now we had a point of control that started here, it moved down, then it moved up, then it moved down again. This is exactly the kind of rotation that or the kind of movement that you'll see in a point of control during a rotational day. So I suspect the high's in. It might not be. You might go a little bit higher, but chances are it's not going to run. I can tell you that right now. And let's just see what happens. So the point of control moves up a little bit right there. Moved up a little bit more. We're testing that high again. Made a new high. And then it gets rejected. Point of control is moving up and down. And then we get another sell-off. So pretty much the move, and it just hangs out here for the rest of the day. Doesn't do anything else. So that's the difference between a trending day versus a rotational day or a day that's not going to do much. You watch that point of control and you see, what is it doing? Is it going up, down? Is it doing up, down, up, down, up, down? Is it all over the map? That shows me that this is, like I said, in a rotational pattern versus an actual trending day. So that's kind of how I use the point of control, and I'm paying attention to those areas. The other way that I would use that is once it starts to develop throughout the day, I might lean on some of these points. If they're there, I might lean on them for stop, where I move my stops. But for the most part, the one thing that I'm using during the day is where that point of control, how it's moving throughout the day, is going to tell me the strength of the move. And it's really helped me get out of moves earlier. I'll take a look at Pepsi today, for instance. This is a trade that I took today, and we'll just back test it, and I'll show you what the point of control did. So first of all, I wasn't in yet. So the point of control is right here, and it made its big strong move. Now the point of control is starting to move down, moves down here. And then when you make a new low and the point of control is sitting right there, this was at a good support level. It hadn't moved down with this. It wasn't moving down. It made one move down lower. And this is where I bought, was right down at the low. I bought at the low on the day because I was waiting for this to retest. It didn't make a new low based on this 5 minutes. So this is what I was watching. And I'm triggered in, and then it breaks back above the point of control. So now what I'm watching now, is the point of control going to move up, or is the point of control going to move down? And right there we get this move up. So again, we started up, it moved down a little bit, and then it moved up again. So I'm in this move. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish candles in a row. And again, I'm watching the point of control now. Let's go back there for a second, because that's where I made my move. So this point of control moved up again. Now remember, it started down, or started here, then it dropped down, then it went back up again. So I'm already thinking this isn't trending. I'm waiting for the top. It's got several bullish candles in a row. And I started to watch this, and if the point of control moved, right there it went up a little bit. And there it went back down again. So the fact that this was moving up and down, it wasn't trending. I exited the position up here, and I did not stay in the trade. And as you can see, it came all the way back down. But then what I really like is it came back to the entry point. Point of control drops back down into this area. But you don't get price that continues to break down. It does a little bit, because it'll put in a new low here. So right in this area, you get a breakdown, you get a brand new low. Point of control stays right where it is. You've already had a move down, a move up, now another move down. Chances are this was going to be a rotational day, and it was going to test that high again. I wanted to take a trade down here. I didn't. I called it a day, but I did want to take a trade at least back up to the VWAP, which would have worked. And it looked even better on the 2-minute chart, because there was a beautiful hammer down here. But it goes back up, but you're not getting price acceptance again. The point of control staying at the low. It's not moving up. So I would have been exiting right here. I wouldn't have held. And it gains some more strength, but again, the point of control is not moving any higher. And it does at the end of the day with some buying. So it took quite a bit of move for it to actually get the volume to come back up into this area. But remember, it was building on the volume that was already established here, and the point of control was here at one point. So the low and the high ended up being established, and you can see that with the point of control by just watching it. So I don't use the point of control to necessarily enter a trade. I'm still looking for a signal. Now, the other thing that you can do with the point of control is they have a tendency of being magnets for other days. So the point of controls that have not been tested from prior days, they'll keep being extended to the right. And at some point, that could be an area where you might find support or resistance. Now, I'm not saying buy off that level. I'm saying that when price gets to that level, pay attention and watch it, because depending on whether or not you get a signal, that could be a good spot to enter. It's a good support level. You can use it as a good support or a good resistance level. And on the SPY, it works even better, because there's a lot more volume, and obviously the more volume you have, the more accurate some of these things are going to be. So once again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, throw them in the chats. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and yeah, love to hear from you.